things couldn't get any worse for the former royal known as the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. Well, they certainly are about to, well, shall we say, at least unsteady the, some people might suggest, calmer waters. As Netflix, of course, look towards exactly what success they've had with, as ever, Meghan, then you've got to look and think exactly where do they go from here. You see, as I told you recently, they had a massive sort of interest factor. When you think, there's no two ways about it, 30 million subscribers on YouTube for the channel alone, the streaming company alone, and seemingly she can only muster up 2 million. This doesn't go well. It's not bad, but when you consider the exposure, it doesn't go well. But now, a folly from the past looks set to re-emerge just at the wrong time. Let me explain. Morning, good to see you. Thank you so much for your time. Lovely to have your company in a bit of a lovely sunshiny day. I don't know how well this is going to stay, actually, the sun. You just wake up to it, you think just be grateful that it's sunny, not windy, rainy, all that sort of stuff. But as somebody pointed out, Neil, don't wonder, you think spring could have come too early. Don't say that. Let's try and remain positive. I know, you've got to think, don't let this be the summer. Yes, already in March, you know what I'm saying? Can happen, chums, you know. We've had that, haven't we? Yes, if you've been over to the United Kingdom, you know what I'm talking about. Dark clouds, though, gathering, you like that one. Dark clouds gathering, of course, over the world of Meghan Markle. Some people might say, of course, it's all brought on by herself. Somebody recently pointed out that, you know, they were beginning to feel a bit sorry for Meghan. And I sort of, you can see both sides, but it's all self-inflicted, you know, you get what you give, don't you? And I think part of the problem, as I've said to you before, is a sort of lack of authenticity, you know. If you were talking about inviting people to the table, everybody's welcome. Well, there's a whole list of people that you've fallen out with publicly, including your family and, of course, your in-laws, so they're not welcome. So let's just cut to the cloth, sister. Now, where it gets really fascinating for me is, of course, if you cast your mind back a couple of years, this mega deal came to the table with Spotify. And it was a big deal. And this was at the period, you know, I can tell you this, chums, how media has really cut back and relinquished, you know, costs and all sorts of stuff. They had a lot of books to burn, and they figured that Meghan as a podcaster was the way forward, structured and more controlled. And if you remember this particular video that she put out, well, apparently this was the first time we're going to get to see the real me, and it's exciting. Well, it wasn't that exciting because people didn't want to tune in. And when you're paying for something like that, you really want some good stories. You know, there are many podcasts out there that are absolutely exciting, if you like, documentary, revealing in-depth conversation, that sort of stuff. This was none of them. This was a vehicle really for Meghan to sit there, if she did, and interview people. It was sort of blighted by all negativity from the off, really. Producers saying that they came up with the idea and she stole this. Apparently she wasn't present at some of the interviews, just filled in the questions afterwards. It wasn't exactly a sparkling start into the media world of podcasting. Then this happened, as you know. The boss of Spotify came out and was rather unsavoury about them. And again, you know, where do you go from there? It's very problematic. But now, according to a source, Spotify, or the people that were with NDAs assigned to Spotify, the whole media landscape has now changed, and there are going to be two, as ever allegedly, documentaries in the pipeline detailing exactly what it was like working with the ex-royals. You see, a lot of people have forgotten that originally the deal was going to be the two of them. You know, in the very first thing that she did, oh, you say this because your accent's better, that sort of stuff. That was the idea. But Harry interviewing Putin or the Pope seemingly didn't like their boat, as it were. So eventually it fell to Meghan with her archetypes. As she has a new deal now with Lemonada, this again could be proving very problematic. And let's not forget, when they recast the series, they thought they were going to pick up a big sort of upturn, and it was just much of a flop the second time around. But the documentary could be very damning indeed. As I say, the staff are free from NDAs. Many want their story out there, and many, of course, let's not forget, put their heart and soul into it, and they wanted it to be a success because then that would have been reoccurring work. For Spotify, they've remained silent so far, but according to a source, may be tempted to contribute at some point. It's going to be fascinating, I'm sure, but maybe not for Meghan. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.